This is the Hammer Down Racing Report. And now your hosts, Scott Hammer and Ron Miller.
Welcome, race fans, to the Hammer Down Racing Report for Thursday, April 13th. Show number 276.
Wow.
Scott Hammer, Ron Miller coming at you live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter from the John Young Racing for First Responders and Dave Kemmer studio. And also the John Young Racing chairs.
Like the John Young Racing chairs.
Yeah, these are fast chairs.
They're cool and they're comfy.
They are. And they were the cheapest ones I could find.
Really?
So it works out well. Tonight on the show, we'll be giving away some Big D's Pizza, as always. Brian Liskai will join us once again. It's only been about a month since we talked to him.
Yeah.
That was for the Attica opener, which hasn't happened yet.
Right.
Tomorrow, though, it's looking good. And we're going to be...
Saturday's looking...
Pretty good.
More better.
Pretty good. Yeah, we're having him on to talk about Fremont, though, because Fremont was originally supposed to kick off this weekend.
Right.
But they've had to postpone due to Attica's...
extenuating circumstances.
Getting pushed back, yeah. So we'll talk to Brian Liskai about Fremont. I'm sure Attica will probably come up as well. And all the latest racing news, everything else that you expect from us.
The internet's really been lit up about the Fremont Attica issue.
Is it an issue?
And and I think they made the right choice.
Okay. Well,
there's just so many 410 sprint cars, and 410 sprint cars are both tracks headline.
Yeah, earlier in the week, I think I was talking to Dave, our producer.
Right.
And I said, because that was before they had announced they were going to postpone the start, Fremont. Right. I was like, so what's Fremont going to do? Because all the 410s will probably be at Attica. All the 305s will probably be at Attica. They got the dirt trucks. And then Dave said, well, yeah, and all the fans will be at Attica, too.
Yeah.
So probably a good call there. But, yeah, we'll get the scoop on that from Brian, I'm sure. Oakshade Raceway is going to be kicking things off in, 2 weeks from this weekend?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, April 29th. It's coming up soon, the Bill Rector Memorial. Hopefully we get some weather like we have today. First time we got with the windows open in the studio.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's almost too warm, actually.
I like it.
Saturday 29th, that's the opener for Oakshade Raceway. Full schedule is available on oakshaderaceway.com. You got the Barney Oldfield race coming up in mid-June. You got the birthday race mid-July, $10,000 to win, Summer Nationals. So lots going on at Oakshade this summer. And we'll have either Chrissy or Pam on the show in a couple weeks, too, to talk
Maybe
about
both
that.
of them.
Possible. Yeah, it could happen. Big D's Pizza in Clyde. Give them a call right now, 419-547-1444, or order online at orderbigdspizza.com. Check out that new country fried steak with bacon sandwich, just $6.99, and the crispy curly fries for $3.99. Good stuff. Big D's in Clyde, big on taste, not on price. DCR Graphics, locally owned and operated. They have full wrap starting at just $350. They also have cheaper stuff. If you just want a sticker, they could do that too.
Really?
You don't have to get a full wrap. Yeah, they could.
That's a good deal.
Make stickers. They also make the little car. I have my side now pointed toward the camera.
Did you requisition the Hammer Down Racing report for the number 35 late model?
I have not talked to him about that.
Oh, jeez.
If Dale's listening, Ron would like a Hammer Down Racing report sticker for his race car.
Yeah.
For his late model there.
I need one.
Yeah. If you need one, well, get a hold of Dale as well. Give him a call, 419-308-9523. I should probably have that scrolling at the bottom of the screen there. That might help.
Maybe he could have a sale on Hammer Down Racing Report stickers.
Maybe. There you go.
Hey, we'll take publicity wherever we can get it.
Yeah. Like I said, he does graphics for sprint cars, late models, modifieds, compacts, stock cars, whatever. If it can be measured, they can do the graphics for it.
Quarter midgets?
I'm sure, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. 419-308-9523. Check them out on Facebook at facebook.com/DCR Graphics. And contact Freeze Frame Photos for all your racing photo needs, from action shots to victory lane. They have those new items that I got to get some new copy for them, because those new items kind of aren't really new anymore. They've been around, but could be new to you. The 20-ounce tumblers, water bottles, kids' cups, and
80-degree days, 20-ounce tumblers are a big deal.
There you go, yeah. Get them customized with images that Freeze Frame Photos takes. They have lots of cars, lots of pictures of all the cars, area tracks all over, not just Oakshade. They do Toledo. They've been at Sandusky. He's been at Fremont.
I'll bet Charlie will be at Attica this weekend.
He probably will. Give Charlie a call, 419-476-9978. Just don't call him Friday or Saturday night because he'll probably be busy.
At a racetrack.
Yeah, probably won't be able to hear very well. Freeze frame photos, special moments frozen in time. And also a shout out to Big D's Pizza, Ron Miller Race Cars, and Headhunters Barber Studio and Salon in Perrysburg. And last weekend, Dale says, how many Hammer Down stickers do you want?
Ooh, I need one.
Just one?
Rather
you don't
large.
need one for each side?
I was thinking maybe Hammer Down Racing Report deserved the hood.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Big area.
Bigger, just like on our little late model up there.
Right.
Okay. There, one big one for Ron.
Probably 3 feet wide.
John needs one, too, for his. Oh, something else we wanted to talk about a little bit later, too, after we're done talking with Brian, is you brought this up last week after the show about having the fan of the week or something.
Right.
I haven't totally hashed that out yet. I figured out how we could choose it, but I don't know what they get or anything. So if anybody wants to throw something in for the fan of the week, we'll do a random drawing each week for our live listeners, at least, for that. Like I said, that's in the works. Show me.
Well, maybe DCR Graphics could do a small.
Maybe we could do the graphics, the sticker.
A
they
small
win a sticker.
Personalized sticker.
Or a Hammer Down Racing Report sticker.
Yeah.
There you go. We just had a show meeting.
For the back window of your car.
Just had a show meeting. Do you also...
Or in the middle of the front windshield, whatever.
Yeah. Okay. How about we do a little bit of action from last week before we give Brian a call here. That would be our Racing Roundup.
Racing Roundup.
To watch racing, too.
On TV?
Yes.
Yeah, on TV. Yeah.
Nothing in around here.
Attica, again, rained out last weekend. That's why the All-Stars will kick off their point season this weekend at Attica. We'll talk more about that later. The World of Outlaws Case Construction Equipment Late Model Series, they were rained out. Wasn't that last week? Did I forget to take that off?
I don't know.
I don't remember. It seems like every week's the same thing. Everything's getting rained out. The World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series, US 36 Raceway Friday night. Sheldon Hodenshield picked up the win in the Jason Johnson Classic at 81 Speedway on Saturday. It was Rico Abreu. And did you watch Tuesday?
I did not.
Tuesday High Limit?
A little bit.
Well, we'll talk about that here in just a second. NASCAR action over the weekend. Joey Logano picking up the win in the Weather Guard truck race on dirt at Bristol Motor Speedway on Saturday night. Jonathan Davenport, I believe, finished 14th in that one.
Right.
Logano did not have as good luck on Sunday. He was the defending dirt at Bristol race winner. I believe he finished last.
There were some ruffled feelings over that whole during the whole race, Scott.
But Christopher Bell, dirt track racer, picked up the win there in the Food City Dirt Race at Bristol on Sunday, so that was cool. Other note, Kyle Larson, you said they were showing this all weekend, too, on Fox and the FS1 broadcast about Kyle Larson and Jonathan Davenport's battle. Last Thursday night, right after the show, I went downstairs, turned it on, I was like, holy crap.
I got home and watched it.
That was a good battle. Slide jobs back and forth. Kyle Larson, Jonathan Davenport in the Kyle Larson Late Model Challenge last Thursday night at Volunteer Speedway. About first 37 laps they were battling back and forth.
Didn't the two of them have a slide fest back during speed
I
weeks?
think so, yeah. Those two put on some pretty good races. But eventually Larson got ahead of him, and he cut down a tire in the final lap there, getting into, was it Kyle? I thought it was Kyle Busch.
Yeah, Kyle Busch. You're right.
Kyle Busch lap car. Clipped his left rear, cut it down on the backstretch, and he kind of left it back around to the
there's something you don't hear
line.
very often. Kyle Busch in a lapped car.
Yeah. And Chase Briscoe broke his finger.
Right.
Yeah, we got some, we'll have an update on that a little bit later as well. Kyle O'Gara led all 75 laps to take his second consecutive Glen Nebel Classic for the 500 Sprint Car Tour at Anderson Speedway on Saturday night. Taylor Fern, former guest on the show, finished in second. So congratulations to her. And Tuesday night, as we were mentioned, Giovanni Celsi scored the biggest prize of his career with the High Limit Sprint Car Series at Lakeside Speedway and Shane Stewart's Heartland of America Showdown. $50,000 to win that thing.
A lot of money.
Rico Abreu looked like he had it in hand, and he had the same kind of deal that Kyle Larson did. A caution came out. He kind of slid up and caught the car that had stopped on the track, and it knocked I'm guessing it knocked the bead off of his right rear because it was flat, and he ended up
unlike
done.
Larson, who
like
just
7 laps to go, though.
Unlike Larson, who just drove a lap on a flat left rear.
It was a half a lap. 7 laps is another deal. So Giovanni Selzi, he picked up the win there. Exciting race. It was pretty good.
Any update on the driver that was injured in qualifying?
No. I missed qualifying. Okay. I didn't even know somebody was injured because I missed qualifying.
Oh, I'm not even sure it was there, but it was early in the week. No, it was there, I think.
Okay. No,
I'm sure one of our producers will.
We'll chime in. I suppose I have to switch over to our comments here. How about we dial up Mr. Brian Liskai here? PRI. Hopefully we got him in here correctly. Jake Newman?
Yep.
Is that who it was? I do not have an update on that. Gotta get to talk to
Good evening.
Hey.
Mr. Brian Liskai.
How are you doing?
I recognize that voice.
Ron Miller, Scott Hammer. How's it going?
Good.
I feel like we just did this a few weeks ago.
We did.
And technically, we should have had like 4 weeks of racing done by now.
Oh, you're telling me?
And how many do we have?
None.
Yeah, that's not good. But
last year I think Attica rained out the first 5 weeks.
So this is we're doing better this year then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like the weatherman's going to be very nice this weekend.
Let's hope so.
We talked to Attica before. I'm sure we can mention it here, but I kind of wanted to focus on Fremont, who was originally supposed to start this weekend before last weekend's Spring Nationals got pushed back to this weekend as the makeup weekend. And earlier in the week, I was kind of wondering if what Fremont was going to do. Was there a contingency plan if that should happen when the schedule came out? Do you know?
No. What happened was that Fremont's always open in the middle of April. It's always around my birthday.
Happy birthday, by the way.
It'll be Sunday. So it's always Fremont's always open then. And then sometimes Easter, because just the way the calendar falls, comes on that weekend. So Fremont cooperate with Attica because Attica traditionally has their Spring Nationals on Easter weekend. And this year we wanted to get back to that. So we said we're going to open it the middle of April like we always do. Attica always had a rain date for the Spring Nationals, but only of one day. And that was usually the Friday after, if in case it got rained out. Well, a couple of years ago, they decided to do the whole weekend, and it didn't work out that way. So Fremont said, you know what, that's a big event for Attica. We'd like to work with the other racetracks, so we will cancel our race since you postponed your race, and that's what happened.
Gotcha. And I was wondering for your sake, too, how you're going to be at 2 places at once.
Well, the beauty of that is it's the Spring Nationals, it's the All-Stars. So Blake Anderson does a whale of a job for the All-Stars. So it really wouldn't have been that big a deal. Blake would have graciously, I'm assuming, I haven't asked him, that if that would have been the case, he would have done the 305 sprints that night and everything would have been just fine. But it all works out in the long run anyway. It's going to be a good weekend weather-wise for Attica, and Fremont will open the following week and everything will be fine.
So next weekend is the 410s, 305s, dirt trucks, just a regular show for the opener at Fremont? Correct.
And we're going to honor Johnny Oxter, who passed away this past winter. Was there the first night the racetrack opened, 1951, and this is going to be the first time the racetrack opens without Johnny Oxter. So we're going to honor his memory on opening night.
And Ron was saying, what is it, 75 years for Fremont?
Well, since 1951, whatever that is. I'm trying to do the math in my head. So 73, right?
Okay.
Am I right?
It's close.
Yeah, and you've been announcing all of them?
No. Close. I will start my 39th year tomorrow night.
At Fremont?
Of announcing. I will start I started at Fremont in 1985.
Okay.
Very good. So another thing I noticed that's an addition, I guess, in name, the Rick Ferkel Classic is making the move to Fremont from Waynesfield this year.
Correct. Shane Helms, his work and his family got too busy, and he bowed out at Waynesfield for the time being. He may revisit that. He invested a lot of money and time in that place, and him and Greg Schob are good friends, and Shane may come back to Waynesfield eventually, but he started the Rick Ferkel Classic down at Atomic Speedway in 2018, and he called me up and said, "Hey, just to let you know, I'm not going to be at Waynesfield anymore, but I want to see the Rick Ferkel Classic continued. Rick deserves that," and I agree wholeheartedly. Rick was one of my heroes growing up, and we need to do that for Rick. I don't think we, especially the younger drivers, don't get to see what those guys did for this sport. And we are where we are because of people like Rick Ferkel. And his first win came at Fremont Speedway. So it's appropriate that it comes home to the track that action built.
Well, and Fremont has a legitimate Hall of Fame, so that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Rick's 84 years old, and, I hope our goal, I think, at Fremont is this will continue for as long as that racetrack continues, that there will be a Rick Ferkel Classic.
Okay, yeah, and I think I saw that actually started at Atomic Speedway before it even came to Waynesfield.
Correct.
So.
Correct. When the whole All-Star Renegade, was it Renegade? I can't even remember what that was. It seems so long ago, but when that split happened and Shane Helms was involved in that, he promoted the race down at Atomic Speedway and continued it on at Waynesfield Raceway, and called me up and said, "We need to continue this, and I can't find a better home than Fremont Speedway for the Rick Ferkel Classic."
So that's going to be part of the Sprint Speed Week on Saturday, June 10th, All-Star show.
Yeah, and the beauty part about that is the night before at Attica to open up Speed Week, it's the Burt and Bridget Emick Classic, honoring the people that kept the All-Star name out there after Bud Miller started it in the 70s, and Burt and Bridget kind of reinvigorated it in the 80s. And Rick Ferkel was a consummate All-Star. He ran with Bud Miller's deal back in 1973, as my dad did actually. And when they traveled all over the country, kind of the precursor to the World of Outlaws. The Knoxville Nationals was an All-Star Circuit of Champions sanctioned event back in 1973. But Rick Ferkel was one of those guys, and it's kind of apropos that we continue with an All-Star event at Fremont.
Very cool. Dean Henry asked, he wants to know, why didn't they try and run, I'm assuming he means Fremont on Sunday?
We looked at it. Honestly, that's a good question, and we did look at it. Ryan Sheets and the gang over there looked at it. In fact, they talked to the All-Stars about running that on Sunday. And, after a weekend, Friday and Saturday at Attica, our race fans only have so much money they can spend discretionary going to the races. That's A. B, it's a Sunday, and Sundays it's hard for people to come to the races and then get up on Monday morning and go to work. And C, we looked at the extended forecast, and they're calling for a lot of rain on Sunday. So there you go. That kind of made that decision for us.
It makes it easier, yeah, when the rain comes. I know talking to Scott Warner back when he was trying to get Millstream open back up, he talked to a lot of sprint car guys, a lot of the regulars at Attica and Fremont about, if they would be willing to come out on a regular basis, make it a 3-day weekend, Friday at Attica, Saturday at Fremont, Sunday at Millstream. And the response was not what I expected, actually. It was a lot of them were like, like what you said, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of money, especially to go 3 days in a row. So he kind of got mixed responses to that.
Well, and I remember back in the day when Brian ran on Sunday, and we'd do a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it was a tough deal.
Well, and the cars require so much more maintenance now. It's so much more expensive to get ready to go racing on any particular day, let alone 3 days on a weekend for people that have jobs. Most of these guys around here that have their own race teams have jobs, and it does take its toll on you. And what a lot of people don't understand, and I was having this conversation with the guys down at Atomic Speedway at Chillicothe. We were talking about what we, in today's world, we got all of us have these smart TVs, and we have streaming, and we have all this stuff going on, and there's a lot competing for that discretionary dollar. And to do a 3-day weekend and that discretionary dollar, and he was talking, the guys at the Atomic was talking to me. I said, you don't have the challenges we have up here in Northern Ohio. We have Lake Erie. We have Cedar Point. We have all these things, water parks. All that's vying for that discretionary dollar. So when you tried to throw a 3-day weekend on top of that, of course, we have our great loyal fans. All tracks have, that handful, bigger handful of people that will come out no matter. But you need the casual fan to come in too. And their discretionary spending is pretty limited anymore.
Yeah, and that gets pretty expensive, bringing the entire family out for 3 nights of racing.
Well, and they can do it once a summer, plan their vacation around it, Sprint Speed Week,
Just not a weekly thing. Anyway,
right,
I didn't mean to go down the whole Sunday, whole rabbit hole there, but back to the Fremont schedule. You got the steel block late models coming in on June 17th. I know Ron is always trying to get late models there. Any chance of any other late model shows at Fremont?
No, we'll certainly look at it down the road. The reason we brought the steel block late model series back was because they brought almost 30 cars, and they put on a whale of a show. And when you can do that, kind of live up to the hype, it's easy to say when they call and say, hey, you want to schedule us next year? Heck yes. And we're doing it on a weekend, on a Saturday that the track isn't running sprint cars because it's Ohio Sprint Speed Week. And, the All-Star contract basically says you can't run 410 sprint cars against another track during Speed Week. And we got to looking at it and we thought, here's the chance to make these guys the headliner. The dirt trucks, the 305s, and the steel block late models, and I'm thinking it's going to be a huge night for us at Fremont.
Cool. And then later on in the season, I saw the trucks and the stocks are back on the schedule for a second year on October 6th.
Again, when you have success with an event, you do it again, and we had a great turnout of the stocks, and everybody had a great time. They put on a fantastic show. I was kind of skeptical of that one. I'm just going to admit that out front. And after that
Is
event,
it because of me?
I honestly thought, the stock cars were very, very, very competitive. I thought they'd be at a disadvantage, and they weren't. And hats off to Corey McCoy, who put that deal together. They policed it very well. They looked at, everybody got inspected. They looked at what everybody was doing. It was a good event. And that was another easy one. When they said, we want to do this again, say, heck yes.
And again, that's a Friday night, not a Saturday night show. That's part of that.
Correct. And it's part of a big weekend at the fairgrounds. They have a fall fest at the fairgrounds, and people camp, and they have a lot of fun with the kids. And it was a really cool atmosphere that night. And
you got the Jim and Joanne Ford Classic. What other big events does Fremont have this year? I mean, the AFCS, Attica Fremont Championship Series is going to be there quite a few times. What else you got?
Well, we're bringing in, since Barry Marlowe, I know you guys had him on the show here a couple weeks ago, kind of stepped in, and the NRA Sprint Invader 360 deal was kind of up in the air, and he got that under his umbrella, and he started the Great Lakes traditional sprints. So we're bringing them in, non-wing sprint cars for that. That's kind of a new deal for us with them. We had the Boss sprints in the past. Barry's been a good partner with us, and we're going to stick with that. We're going to bring the 360s in, so that's kind of cool. They last year they came in, and again, they brought a lot of cars. And when you bring a lot of cars and you put on a good show, it's easy to say yes when they call you back up. So, that's how that works. And we got the Speed Week with the All Stars. We got the Jim and Joanne Ford Classic, and our normal weekly. And everybody says, "Well, it's not very exciting schedule." And I'm like, "It's racing on a dirt track. What
week.
more do you?" every week. A bunch of us have been talking about that. It's getting really tough to have weekly competition anymore. A lot of people have said in the past 3 or 4 years, you're going to start seeing some of these tracks quit doing weekly stuff. They're going to go to a 2-race a month special event and be done with it. And I hope that doesn't happen because when that happens, then you lose your weekly guys, the guys who go to work every Monday through Friday and then come out and race on the weekend. And when they can't do that anymore, they're going to go find other things to do. And all these traveling series and all these big money shows, we saw the High Limit on Tuesday. They got to remember, you need those people. You can't run a race with 12 cars. You just can't do it. And you need those people, and you got to keep them active, and you better start supporting the series and all these streaming services and everybody else that talks about that. Better start supporting the weekly racing, because if you don't have that, you're not going to have the other ones down the road.
Well, that High Limit show, I think they had 52 cars. 56?
Yeah.
Okay. And I would say at least 40 of those were weekly racers.
Probably pretty close to that. And there's a deal, the High Limit deal. Everybody gives Brad Sweet and Kyle Larson a lot of kudos for that, and I do too. But where's the money come from? Well, you know where the money comes from? Streaming service. Flow Racing supports that. And those guys lease those racetracks. That's not like these promoters are going out and saying, we're going to run this big race in the middle of the week and we're going to put our neck on the line. No. Brad Sweet and Kyle Larson and the High Limit deal lease that racetrack. And they have the backing of Flow to be able to do that. That takes a lot of pressure off of, can you imagine a weekly racing guy coming out and say, we're going to put a $80,000 person on Tuesday in the middle of a week without any backing?
And
it won't happen.
And the grandstands
were full.
Were very respectable.
I was impressed with that. Yeah, for a Tuesday.
I was too, and especially the ticket price. When you start looking at the ticket price, I get a kick out of weekly racetracks that raised their tickets in the last year or two, $1 here or $2 there, and the people are starting to complain. And I'm like, but you have no problem plunking down $50 to go to a race like that in the middle of the week, and good for you if you can do that. That's fantastic, and I hope that happens a lot, but. Don't complain when your local track raises it, from $16 to $18 or $18 to $20.
Brian, do you think it's Kyle Larson's name that brings the crowds?
It doesn't hurt. Of course, it doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt. He wins on Sunday with NASCAR, and then he gets in a sprint car on a Tuesday. Of course, and the great part about that with Kyle Larson's marketing, because of that, is we're bringing new fans into the sport.
Sure.
And that's never a bad thing. If we can bring more new people into the sport, that's always a great thing. And streaming has helped in that in quite a bit of ways. It's just the pocket of money is only finite, and we need to be able to figure out how to share it among everybody.
Speaking of admission prices, what are we looking at for Fremont for this year?
$18 weekly racing. Specials will be more, of course. So, we raised it first time in, gosh, I'm going to say 6, 7, 8 years. And again, some of the people complain about that, but as I tried to point out to people, do you understand, like your grocery bill, the racetrack's bill's gone up too. And insurance was a big one. I know talking to the guys at Fremont, our insurance went up almost 40% in the last 3 years.
And you ought to try looking at the financial end of it from the other side of the racetrack.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
From a racer standpoint, it's just gone stupid.
Well, it has. And then the racers say, well, tracks need to raise the purse, and the tracks say in order to raise the purse, we need to raise the ticket price, and the fans say, we go to the grocery store and we're paying more and more for gasoline, and we can't spend more. It's a vicious circle.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anything racers or fans can expect to see this year that's different than before? New facilities, amenities, different procedures? at Fremont?
No, I think our procedures are pretty tried and true. We've been pretty receptive to listening to the racers on doing some tweaking things. For instance, our point structure at Fremont, Rich Farmer did this when he was a promoter there for the 410 sprints. Every time you hit the track, it was worth some points from qualifying to heat races. And we had some racers, we gave points for fastest qualifier overall. Well, the procedure has been you qualify against the cars in your heat. So a guy goes out in the first heat, track's a lot different from the guy goes out in the third heat or the fourth heat. And they said, well, how about you reward points based on how you qualify within your heat? And that's an easy one. That's an easy fix. So that's something we're going to do. That's something the fans wouldn't recognize. But no, and I think like all tracks across the country, we're looking at ways to speed the program up a little bit and hopefully get people's attention spans have dropped dramatically in the last 10, 15 years, thanks to social media and the big screen TVs and everything else. So we're looking at ways to try to speed the program up a little bit.
I hear that's working for. I'm not a baseball fan, but I guess they have a clock now for a batter clock or something, and
that's pitch count. Yeah,
is that what it is?
And they've made the bases larger, so it's a little easier to steal a base.
Oh, who cares about that? I'm just talking about the time. I don't like baseball. I'm not a baseball guy, I've heard the game times have been reduced by like a half hour, and that's pretty significant.
They're doing what they can to be NASCAR.
What could you do really to speed along the show? I mean, more than it's already done. It's not like tracks are just trying to drag things out.
Well, some tracks do. Some tracks still hold intermission. No, seriously, some tracks still hold intermission, which I've never gotten. When I grew up as a kid, there was always intermission, and that was just a way to sell more hot dogs, so to speak. But a lot of tracks, most tracks that I know of, have done away with quote unquote intermission. But just simple things. It involves you can drop 20 minutes to a half hour off a show if you get cooperation from the race team. In other words, when they call you up to staging, get the staging. A lot of guys that they get lollygagging in the pits and they talk and this and that, and the ladies up in the tower screaming, "We're waiting for you," and they still lollygag around. A lot of the sanctioning bodies have that 8-minute horn, and they sound the horn. And if you aren't there, you're docked for it. And I think you're going to start seeing that trickle down into the weekly shows. I
think most of our local tracks, Brian, are blessed with racers that have learned that. When it's time for the heat races, they're in line ready to go.
Yeah. The only time you see some dragging of the feet, Ron, is qualifying. They go out and hot lap, and then they go back to their pit and they sit for a minute. And it's like, no, you go back and you do whatever you have to do. Get in line.
Hot lap qualifying fixes that.
Yeah, that does, and but a lot of racers don't like that. It's just one of those things. But if we, like I said, if you can shave off 20 minutes here, half hour there, the goal I think for every small track in the country should be to run. It depends on how many divisions you have, of course, but to run a program within 3.5 hours.
I would say I'd say 3. 3.5 being really generous. Yeah.
3 from hot lapping to qualifying to the last checkered flag, 3 to 3.5 hours should be tops. And if you can do that, and Attica's been a leader in that in this area, if you can do that, then you're doing things right.
We've talked about it for the last few weeks on the short tracks. What do you think about a choose cone?
I'm kind of torn on that one. It's like, Attica several years ago instituted the quote unquote lucky dog. And I understood that, where if you get lapped, when the first yellow comes out, you get your lap back, you go to the tail. Because, the old days was lap cars didn't go to the tail. They stayed where they were. And if you got lapped 10 laps into a feature and the yellow comes out and, the leader and the second place guy just got by you and now you're sitting third and you're lap down, you might as well pull in the pits. And it was a way to keep cars on the racetrack and keep them racing so that fans got to see, a lot of cars on the racetrack. Otherwise, you might end up with 10, 12 cars on by the end of the feature. Things like that, it's I don't know. it's an interesting thing to do. The High Limit did that deal on Tuesday, and it benefited the winner. He went from, I think, 6th or 7th to restarting 3rd or something like that because some guys chose the high line, and Gio Scelzi went down to the bottom of the racetrack and gained like 3 rows. It adds an interesting niche into the racing.
I kind of like it, and I would like to see somebody try it on the short tracks. Maybe we're wrong, but I think it throws another little twist in there.
Well, I know the dirt trucks at Fremont have lobbied for years, the last couple of years in particular, to do the Delaware double restarts.
Right.
And, it's like, okay, guys, then give us a night where we run 8-lap heat races with 1 caution and not 4.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Then maybe we'll look at it. And I'm not blaming the driver. Look, these guys are amateurs. Those trucks are a handful. I've talked to sprint car drivers that have gotten in those dirt trucks, and they're like, these guys, to be able to run 20 laps and not spin them things out is incredible. Those are things you look at.
They've just got the wrong trucks, Brian.
That's I know somebody builds some good trucks.
Here we go.
So, who are some of the? We asked you this about Attica, but at Fremont, who are some of the racers to be on the lookout for championship runs this year?
Well, our defending track champion Craig Mintz says he's going to do a lot of traveling this year. He's talking about going to Knoxville and the Pennsylvania and things like that. So that kind of leaves the door wide open. But in a way, it doesn't, because DJ Foose has just been so consistent at Fremont with that Burmeister 16. I think, Stuart Brubaker's due to have a good year. You don't know what Jay Kaiser's team was. That's Sabo. They're going with the All-Stars, but, I hope we see him at Fremont a lot. I think that opens the door. I think we're going to see, at Fremont in particular on Saturday, Attica's a unique deal on Friday night because they don't have much competition. Saturday nights there's a lot of competition. Wayne County runs sprint cars. Atomic runs sprint cars. I think we're going to see some Michigan guys come down to Fremont. I think we're going to start seeing a lot of that.
Okay. What about
and 305s? I think we're going to see a huge batch of rookies this year. I really do. It's been kind of quiet on that front, but I think we're going to see a huge batch of rookies this year in the 305s, just like we have the last 2 or 3 years. Dirt truck. People tell me I'm crazy, but I think the dirt truck division is a barometer of the economy, because in my heart and head says 90% of them guys are factory construction workers, and they need that extra money to put into that truck to get to the racetrack. And when the economy is kind of teetering, their numbers dwindle. And we kind of saw that a little bit last year. And I'm hoping we don't see that this year. I'd like to see us stick in the neighborhood of 30, 35 trucks every week, but I'm thinking that might not happen. And that really bothers me. One time we had a fair race for the dirt trucks at Fremont, and there were 65 dirt trucks that showed up.
Wow.
And
there was that many.
And they're still out there.
Huh.
Those trucks are still sitting someplace out there. It's just guys run out of money. And like I said, they're factory workers, construction workers, and when those things aren't employing like they normally do, that division is a good barometer of the economy. I'm hoping that I'm wrong and the economy's bouncing back a little bit and we see some more of those. But last year we had a lot of new dirt truck guys come out, which was encouraging, and I hope we see that again this year.
That was something else that we have talked about a little bit, is maybe we're going to see a decline in the weekly racers. The guys are going to be there, but they may not be there every week.
I think you're right, Ron. I think they're going to do what their budget tells them they can do, and that might be two Saturdays, a month. That might be 3. Some of them will always be there every race, and God bless them. But you know what? If they can only afford to be there twice, then we'll welcome them with open arms.
Hall of Fame, is that going to still be open during race nights?
Absolutely. Randy and Jane Mapus, who are getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, when Rich Farmer and I sat down and determined that we're going to do this deal, it was a 5-year plan, and it got accelerated thanks to people like Deke Gensman to 1 year, and we had a building. And when we talked about it, who are we going to bring in, we said Randy Mapes. Randy loves the history of the sport, and that Hall of Fame shows that, his love for that sport, and they're going in. But, he just does so much, him and his wife, Jane, and the group of volunteers that have stepped up to run that Hall of Fame so that Randy and Jane don't have to be there every week is phenomenal. And we got displays that are just growing and growing. We're bursting at the seams. We're actually starting to look at expanding that Hall of Fame.
Well, that's pretty cool.
I was gonna say you're gonna need a bigger building.
Yeah, and we have room. The Fair Board has been so gracious to work with the Fremont Historical Society, Fremont Speedway Historical Society on that deal, and we're looking at expanding. And the Fair Board has said, to the one side of that building is the quote unquote beer garden, and they said, you know what, if you need that area, we can scale that back, or we can move it someplace else. And we're starting to look at those plans.
Do they grow beer in the beer garden?
Yes.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, hops are an organic.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So
Gotta be good for you.
What's your favorite food to get at the concession stand there, Fremont?
Fremont, root shredded chicken sandwich.
Okay.
Yep.
That was a quick answer. That was easy.
Yeah, kind of grew up on that stuff.
What's your all-time favorite race you've witnessed at Fremont in the since 1985 that you've been there, however many years that is?
Ooh. That's kind of hard to pick. I remember my first year announcing. This popped up on one of my memories on social media. Doug Wolfgang. It was a Sprint Speed Week, and he was driving the Weichert livestock car, and he crashed at Eldora and hurt his shoulder. And it was a Speed Week, and it was the finale, I believe, and or the night before the finale. It was a big race, and he won the race. But the story was Jack Hewitt went through like 3 cars to get into the A main. He started out in the 63, and he borrowed somebody else's in the B, and then I think he ended up in the Nichols brothers car, and somebody, I think Dwayne Leiber or Rusty McClure, somebody qualified the car for the feature, and he got in it, started last, and coming to the checkered, he was right on Doug Wolfgang's tail, and I interviewed Doug Wolfgang, and I said, wow, that was a heck of a race, and Doug was visibly white because he drove that with a bum shoulder and was in pain, and I said, well, great job, Doug, but what do you think of Jack Hewitt coming from the tail of the challenge? He goes, well, this is Ohio Sprint Speed Week, and I'm from South Dakota, so that should tell you something. I don't think he was a fan of allowing Jack Hewitt to get in 3 different cars, is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that seems, it's Jack.
Yeah, exactly.
So you got Attica this weekend. It looks like Mother Nature's going to cooperate. Beautiful looking couple days. Just a slight chance of rain on Saturday. Finally going to get that underway. I mean, I'm assuming you're excited. Finally get racing started.
Very excited. I'm more interested in, they put new clay. John Boris has tried so many things to try to get the dust situation at Attica taken care of, and he spent a lot of money in the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years putting different dirt and clay on that racetrack, and he did it again this past fall, and it's going to be interesting to see what the racetrack does. And I know Pork Chop and Kevin and all the guys that work on that racetrack have really done a lot of work on the racing surface in particular to see what happens. So I'm kind of excited to see how this is going to pan out this weekend.
And that's why they were really wanting to get one of their preliminary events in before the big 2-day show.
The big test.
Yeah, exactly. But, they've had a good week to dry things out.
Yep.
To see what they're going to have to do, what plan they're going to have to do throughout the season to maintain that new surface. So they've had a good week to do that, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
It's the All-Stars tomorrow night as well as late models. That'll be a good test for the surface. And then the All-Star 410s on Saturday with the 305s, right? At Attica.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Correct. Yeah.
So then what's the details on the season opener next week for Fremont?
Well, I believe the AFCS kicks off next weekend at Attica and Fremont on Saturday with 305s and 410 sprints and the dirt trucks. And again, we're going to honor Johnny Oxter, his memory on opening night. It's going to be weird not to see Johnny at the racetrack. First time in my lifetime that Johnny Oxter won't be roaming the pits at Fremont. That's going to be kind of weird.
Dwayne Hancock just chimed in here. You can't wait to hear Mr. Liskai start his 39th year this weekend. Speaking of which, he's got the Hoserville, Ohio injured drivers auction taking place on Saturday at Attica. In addition to the racing.
Yeah, I saw his list of things. Dwayne just works so. I was thinking about this today. Dwayne just, he's like the ultimate super fan. he spends so much, not just money, but time on promoting this sport, and just things like that. When we just lost a young man from Ohio last weekend, and Justin Owen. J.O. was a great kid, and those things that we need, that injured drivers fund, and it is a helping hand from the racing fan, and I hope everybody shows up and bids up on these things. And if you got a man cave, it's a must go. You have to go to this auction.
Yeah, I got some stuff in my garage still that Dwayne hasn't picked up. I got a Brian Smith sprint car wing and some old roofs from my car, which probably nobody wants, but somebody might want the Brian Smith thing.
Hold on. You got a wing from Brian Smith. Brian Smith doesn't crash.
Well, it's got a little bit of...
It's got some
it's
stone
not
chips
bad.
in
It's got some character to it, but it was for the thing at Sandusky, the hangover race. I was going to put it on my car and never did. It's just been hanging in my garage for the past few years. So.
Gotcha.
Do you have any of the information on Dwayne's event?
No, I know. I believe it'll be in the building there, the banquet hall at Attica, and open early so people can come in and look at everything there's going to go on there. It is a weekend deal. It's supposed to be great weather. I believe the campground's already filling up at Attica. So there you go. If you want to have some time to kill, go in and for a good cause and see all the great racing memorabilia they're going to have for auction.
3:00.
It starts at 3.
3 o'clock. There we go.
Just looked it up.
That's when the gates open.
Well, Brian, it's always a pleasure speaking with you, and looking forward to kicking off race season around Northwest Ohio here tomorrow night.
When does Oakshade start?
We still got 2 more weeks. 29th.
2 more weeks?
Yeah.
Last Saturday in April is Dominator Super Stocks, Sportsman, and Front Wheel Drive compacts. And the late models will be the first Saturday in May.
Well, there we go. So, see, racing it's kicking off this weekend. It's just full steam ahead right now.
Yeah. No more rainouts for the rest of the year.
Well, that happened at Attica last year. I said they lost the first 5, and I think we only lost 1 after that.
Well, let's continue that minus the 1 rainout.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, man. You take care. And again, it's always great talking to you.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for everything you do.
Thanks, Brian.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye. There you go. Brian Liskai, the voice of Fremont and Attica Raceway Park. And Attica kicking off this weekend. And due to being pushed back or getting postponed from last weekend, Fremont's opener is postponed till next weekend. We'll go over all that in the Big D's Pizza racing menu here in just a little bit. In the meantime, we do have a little bit of news to cover. We've kind of talked about some of that already. And actually, we've already covered all our sponsors. I did those except for you.
What?
Ron Miller Race Cars.
Oh, I know those folks.
Yeah, give them a call, 734-856-7223 for race cars, parts such as new temperature gauges,
seat
belts.
Yeah, racers,
whatever.
Make sure you check your seat belts. It'd probably be a good idea to look before the tech inspectors do.
There you go. Give Ron a call at 734-856-7223 or his cell phone number.
Here's a little tip. My main number rotates to my cell phone, so I don't have to run to the phone.
All right, then. Whichever number. Well, wait. Yeah. Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, let's do that.
Latest racing news.
Some Big D's Pizza here in just a little bit with how many. We'll find out who last week's winner was, as a matter of fact. Speaking of the Hoserville, Ohio injured driver auction, that was the first thing I had in my news thing. I didn't have to look that up. This is what happens when I do my prep on Monday and don't look at it until now.
You forgot.
Yeah. Again, that's Saturday at 3 o'clock at Attica Raceway Park. All kinds of cool.
Bring a few extra dollars because every dime of it goes to charity.
Yeah, all kinds of cool.
Helping injured drivers.
Racing memorabilia will be for sale, and as Ron said, all for a good cause there. If you have any item to donate or you want more information, contact Dwayne Hancock through his Facebook page. NASCAR and Speedway Motorsports have revealed details for the upcoming NASCAR All-Star race that will be held at North Wilkesboro on Sunday, May 21st. The simplified format, that's what it says, that's the quote, simplified format featuring 2 heat races to set the starting lineup, a 100-lap All-Star Open and a 200-lap main event. They put the spotlight of the weekend on the historic 0.625-mile track, which will host its first NASCAR competition since 1996. First time this century.
Yeah. Ooh.
So, yeah, and I remember John Young was all excited about this a few years ago. He gave me some stickers to put on my car for North Wilkesboro, and now NASCAR is going to be. I honestly did not.
What's going to happen?
I didn't think it was going to happen, yeah, but that's cool. Last Thursday afternoon, the National Motorsports Appeal Panel voted to uphold the penalty NASCAR issued to Denny Hamlin for his on-track actions back March 12th at Phoenix Raceway as a result of the loss of 25 driver points and $50,000 fine levied by NASCAR against Hamlin will remain in place. As Brian just mentioned a little bit ago, Justin Owens, who had been a competitor in the sprint car ranks for more than a decade, succumbed to injuries sustained in a qualifying crash during Saturday night's USAC AMSOIL Sprint Car National Championship event at Lawrenceburg Speedway in Indiana, I believe that is. The Harrison, Ohio native was in the midst of his qualifying run for the event when he drifted high into turn 3, lost control, and slammed into the wall just before 6:30 p.m. 30 minutes later, the series announced the event had been canceled. USAC announced Owens' death shortly after midnight. Owen had entered the weekend's event as the reigning track champion at Lawrenceburg Speedway, having grabbed 2 feature wins and the title in 2022. Owen grew up just 20 minutes north of the track.
I saw on our comments that the driver that was injured at the high limit race.
Oh, that's right.
Was released from the hospital today.
Jake Newman.
Yep.
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate that update. We already talked about the Rick Ferkel Classic being moved to Fremont Speedway from Waynesfield.
Yeah.
NASCAR Cup Series driver. Did you hear about Cody Ware?
I did.
There was not much talk about it during the weekend with, was it Crafton that was substituting for him?
Last weekend,
in his car? Yeah. So Matt Crafton was in his car, but we found out why. He's been indefinitely suspended by NASCAR after he was arrested and charged with assault. He was arrested on April 10th and charged with felony assault by strangulation if inflict serious injury, as well as misdemeanor assault on a female.
Yeah.
What the hell?
And he drives for his father's team.
What the hell? Yeah. So yeah. I don't know what else to say about that.
So Rick Ware Racing is looking for a driver?
Apparently. It's not going to be Cody. Mm-mm. Daniel Suarez will join the Superstar Racing Experience field at Thunder Road Speed Bowl on July 20th. The series announced on Monday. So another current Cup driver, going to be competing in that. That's kind of cool. Chase Elliott will be back behind the wheel of the number 9 car in the Cup Series at Martinsville this weekend after breaking his leg in Colorado.
Boy, that's got to be a tough race to come back to.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
A lot of work.
Was that was before the Las Vegas weekend, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's been 6 weeks, so I wouldn't think he'd be fully healed yet, but I guess good enough. Eldora Speedway teased that they will be having a solar eclipse viewing event on April 8th, 2024. I've been hearing so much about the solar eclipse, I was thinking it was this year. Yeah. It's like, it's next year. What the hell?
It's a whole month or a whole year away.
But I guess Eldora is like right in the path of the one of the good viewing places. So more details forthcoming. There may be a big party going on at, what is the 8th? I don't even know what day of the week that is.
I don't know. Somebody will tell us.
Yeah, somebody, Dave, look that up for me. I want to know what day of the week that would be. Could be a big party. Chase Briscoe, he's going to undergo surgery to repair that broken middle finger on his left hand on Monday morning. This coming Monday, he's going to have the surgery. He broke his finger while competing last Thursday in that Kyle Larson Late Model Challenge at Volunteer Speedway. Yeah. So, and he had posted a image of his X-ray, and it was
how did he break his middle finger? That's my question.
That part I don't know. That is a good question. I-75 Speedway Pack the Track Challenge. We talked about this last week.
We did.
Worth the $1,000 going to 5 spectators if they get over 1,500 people. That was postponed last weekend because I wanted to see how many they had. I want to see if it worked, and it's a Monday for the solar eclipse. Yeah.
Maybe they'll run a race on Sunday and everybody can camp out.
There you go. That might be a cool idea. Yeah, so the Pack the Track Challenge didn't happen last weekend, but postponed from last weekend. It will now be tomorrow.
Oh.
So, and Gene Steele left us a message on the Hammer Down hotline.
Did he?
Saying he knows a scorer down there and can get more information on that.
Ooh.
So we got a phone number and everything. We can
Okay.
find out how that works. Paying the fans $1,000, and it's if they get, I forget, there's increments more than 1,500 where they'll give 5 more fans another $1,000. So it could be a pretty big thing, and that's it for all of our racing news. We do have a Hammer Down hotline text, and I'm going to defer this one to you.
Really?
Yeah, is that okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Maybe.
I don't have a Hammer Down hotline thing here. So if you'd like to call or text the Hammer Down hotline, feel free to do that anytime, day or night. 419-318-3081. 419-318-3081. Call, text, whatever. Anything racing-related questions. This week's Hammer Down hotline question was, why are asphalt tires so much cheaper than dirt tires? Wait, I may have that wrong. I think it was the other way. What are cheaper? Are asphalt tires or dirt tires cheaper?
I think right now, by and large, the dirt tires are a little more. But the pavement tires, new tires are a huge benefit. So, the dirt guys can probably get a couple of weeks out of part of a set anyway. So, end of the day, they're both spending a lot of money.
Asphalt tires so much cheaper than dirt tires. Okay, I did have it right. For some reason, I thought I had that backwards. They're still freaking expensive. All tires are expensive. And the only thing I would think of was asphalt tires. They don't last they get used up quicker.
Right. They go through a heat cycle in the night, and
they're like glue.
Yeah,
it's like flypaper once they warm up.
Used up.
I've only ran them once, and I was quite surprised. I was like, "Wow, these are a lot different."
Look at all the stuff they pick up.
Yes, yeah, that's why you see those guys scraping them off with the torch and a scraper.
Well, and you see the cars swerving back and forth on caution laps to clean the tires.
Yeah,
it's not so much they're trying to warm them; they're trying to get the stuff off of them.
Let's give away some Big D's pizza.
How many?
So last week, the question was how many high-limit sprint cars would be at Lakeside Speedway on Tuesday?
Unfreaking believable.
We guessed a little low.
Boy, did boy. Blew that one.
You picked 25. I said 24. We were
about halfway there.
Not even halfway there.
Yeah.
56 total cars at Lakeside for that high-limit show. Doug Frost, again, he came through. And he chose 58.
Ooh.
So he was closest. He wins a Big D's pizza. He's got 30 days to claim that pizza. And the these free Big D's pizzas we give away, they're worth more and more every day because of inflation.
Yeah.
So every year we've been doing this. I mean, Big D's pizza now, that's got a value of 10% more than it was a year ago.
Yeah, when we started, I think they were $2 or something,
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe when you started racing. I don't. Maybe. What? This week's how many? A chance to win a Big D's pizza. We're going to keep it local and hopefully not jinx anybody. How many All-Stars? All-Star Sprint Cars are going to be in competition at Attica on Saturday.
It's not a Friday, Saturday total.
Not a Friday, Saturday total,
Okay.
just Saturday night. So if somebody breaks down, blows an engine, Saturday doesn't have a spare, that number may be lower, or maybe somebody's coming in from...
I wonder if Saturday's
out of town.
payoff is a little higher so they could attract more cars.
I think it's the same, but I could be wrong.
I don't know.
I have to look that up. But, yeah, so that's how many. Put your guess in the comments of our Facebook Live or YouTube Live. Whoever's closest will get a Big D's pizza. We'll determine the winner next week. We'll say you have until 4 o'clock on Saturday. It's 4 o'clock Eastern Daylight Savings Time to get your guess in. So if you're listening to us on the podcast, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever, you can...
No, the gates open at 3, Scott.
so maybe we should push that back to 3?
Yepper.
All right, yes, 3 o'clock. Correction. 3 o'clock Eastern
Yeah,
time.
We don't want somebody sitting up in the high seats and...
Yeah, and if you
Counting
guess, you only get
trailers.
one guess. It's the same pay for pay out
Okay.
both days. Thanks, Dave. So you get one guess. If you change your guess, you will get the black flag over there by right here. Let's put this back up here. There's right
There it is.
Right there's the black flag. So you're going to get that black flag. I had to move it because I had the window open. So Ron's going to have to give you the black flag. One guess, can't change it, and you have until 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon to put your guess in. So it looks like Jamie's being very pessimistic there with 1. I don't even... What's that? If you're going to go with 1, just go with 0. Don't go with 1. If someone picks 0, then I don't understand people sometimes. Let's check out the Big D's Pizza.
Wait.
What?
You've got to choose.
Oh, that's right. We have to choose, don't we?
Yeah.
You got to choose first.
Darn, I thought I was going to get you to...
Nope.
Okay.
And maybe
All right. 38.
38. Okay. You were looking at some of the numbers there.
No, I did.
Well, here, let me
Saw
switch
some really
back. Let's see.
optimistic ones.
37. We got 20, 36. Doug does pretty good. I'm going with 36 then.
Really?
I'm going with Doug. He's won a couple times recently,
yeah.
so he knows things. Well, you can't change your vote or your guess anyways, Jamie. So if you do, you get the black flag. We just said that. Pay attention.
Oh, Bob Johnson, welcome home.
Okay. This weekend, let's find out.
This weekend's Big D's Pizza Racing Menu.
Attica Raceway, the Core and Main Spring Nationals. It's finally happening. Originally scheduled last weekend. It's going to happen tomorrow, as a matter of fact. 2 days. Tezos All-Star Circuit of Champions, 410 Sprints, the UMP Late Models. Gates open at 3, racing at 7:45. General admission $25 on Friday night. Saturday night, again, Attica Raceway Park, Core and Main Spring Nationals, featuring the Tezos All-Star Circuit of Champions. This is the first 2 point events for their season. And the 305 Sprints will be joining them on Saturday. Gates open at 2.
Ooh.
So maybe we should push that. We already said 3.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Gates open at 2, racing at 7, and again, $25 general admission for Attica there. Waynesfield Raceway Park. They also were postponed from last weekend as well. The Let's Go 30, featuring the Great Lakes traditional 410 non-wing sprints, the 360 NRA sprints, and UMP modifieds in action. Gates open at 3 o'clock there, and racing at 6. This was just announced today. They picked the time. They kind of went in between, trying to dodge the rain. So Waynesfield, gates open at 3, racing at 6 p.m. General admission $18 there at Waynesfield on Saturday
And
night.
for you Jerry Keyser fans, I think he's going to be the announcer.
Yes, he is. And
He was going to be
yeah,
last week anyhow.
Tuesday, there's action on Tuesday.
Ooh.
Eldora, Flow Racing Night in America. Weather's not looking as good on Tuesday, but it's still a little ways out there. Late models, UMP Modifieds, and Eldora Stocks. Gates open at 4 for that on Tuesday night. Racing at 7:30, and general admission $20. And I believe that obviously is going to be on Flow Racing since it's Flow Racing.
I think Sunday, Monday is the really bad rain, and Tuesday could be okay.
I thought I saw something about snow on Monday. Other series action this weekend. The World of Outlaw NASA Energy Drink Sprint Car Series will be at the I-55 Outlaw Showdown at Federated Auto Parts I-55 Speedway in Peverly, Missouri. That's taking place tomorrow and Saturday, Friday.
Sure that's not
Saturday.
Peverly, Missouri?
Whatever. What did I say?
Peverly or Peverly? Yeah, okay.
That's Friday and Saturday, the 14th and 15th. I don't know why I left the High Limit Sprint Car Series in there. That already happened this past Tuesday. Truck Series in action tomorrow night, 7:30 on FS1. It's the Long Jill Silvers. That's the female version. Long John Silver's 200 at Martinsville Speedway. And then the NASCAR Xfinity Series will be in action on Saturday, 7:30 on FS1. For the call, 811.com before you dig 250 at Martinsville. And finally, Cup Series, also at Martinsville for the NOCO 400. That's going to be Sunday, 3 o'clock on FS1 as well. NTT IndyCar Series back in action on Sunday. That's also a 3 o'clock start. That'll be on NBC for the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. They should have good weather for that.
Yeah.
It's Long Beach.
Back to Attica, the Tezos All-Star. That'll be on Dirt Vision or Flow. I know Attica is.
We should have asked Brian that. I believe since it's the All-Stars, that's going to be on Flow because they have
Dave
the contract.
Kemmer help us with this.
Yeah, Dave would know. But yeah, and Dirt Vision may have, it may be one of those broadcasts where they switch back and forth. The late models might be on Dirt Vision.
Maybe.
On Friday night, and the 305s on Saturday maybe on Dirt Vision.
I don't know.
It's always a weird deal with that because it's like you have the two streaming services. Right. The track's a Dirt Vision track, but it's a sanctioning body. The All-Stars is bringing Flow. So I'm guessing it's going to be that way. We'll see what Dave says here. Dean says Flow. Dave says Flow.
I'll bet it's Flow.
Well, the All-Stars at least. So
right.
Hopefully you don't have to flip back and forth to see the support class as well. Weekend weather pit stop. I actually did reach out to Norm Van Ness.
Really?
Big racing fan, former meteorologist. He's got too much going on to fill in for Ryan Weekman, who's everybody's too busy to do the weekend weather pit stop forecasts now. It's weird because, there's no benefits, no health benefits. The pay is zero.
We're going to have to do it in-house, Scott.
I did, and I actually took some notes. So
very good.
Yeah. Your weekend weather pit stop forecast for Attica. Friday's looking awesome. It's going to be 82 tomorrow, so probably
and sunny.
Should be in the probably the upper 70s and then dropping through the 60s during race time. Light winds, so perfect racing weather.
Absolutely.
Really. Can't beat that. Saturday, pretty much the same thing, other than that small chance of a shower sprinkled in.
Like a 20% chance.
I think it was, like I saw 16 to 24,
right,
depending on where you're at. So small chance, and even if it does, it hopefully won't be a total washout.
Right.
But that's Attica, and then Waynesfield on Saturday, same deal. Tiny chance of a shower. Temperature should be in the 70s. Slowly dropping into the 60s. Still good weather
just
there.
Fine.
So great weekend of weather.
We've certainly attended opening days that were a whole lot colder than that.
Yeah. So if you'd like to become a meteorologist, you don't even need to be a certified meteorologist. You like to work for free, or a racing fan, and you know a little bit about weather, or you know how to watch the forecast.
That's it.
Or look it up on your phone. You can become the official Hammer Down Racing Report meteorologist. If you know somebody, or you are that person, call or text us on the Hammer Down hotline. Again, we'll throw that number up there for you.
419-318-3081.
How the hell do you remember that? I can't remember numbers.
Scott, come on.
Yep, that's exactly it. Yeah, what you said. So, yeah, there you go.
And if you forget the phone number, it's on our webpage. It's
HammerdownRacingReport.com. Yeah, there you go. Thanks to associate producer Dave Kammer, contributors John Young, Matt Swander. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Hammer Report. Follow us on YouTube. Even if you don't watch us on YouTube, just if you happen to be on YouTube, just search Hammer Down Racing Report and just click follow.
Anytime.
Yeah, that helps us a little bit. Yeah, anytime. Listen on your favorite podcasting platform, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. I'm going to have to pull up some statistics. I haven't looked at the metrics in about a month. I know India was still doing...
Still doing well?
Still second.
Really?
Second most country that listened to us. Obviously, USA, we have the most listeners in USA. Second most in India. Third is Australia.
We have good friends in
But that was a month ago, so it may have
friends in
changed. I know that
Australia.
I'll pull up some
We've been
stats.
pleading with them to listen to us.
Also, rate and review us. Share our broadcast with your friends on social media. We appreciate it. Thanks to our sponsors, DCR Graphics, Big D's Pizza, Oakshade Raceway, Ron Miller Race Cars, Freeze Frame Photos, Headhunters Barber Studio and Salon. And, of course, if you're interested in being a sponsor of the Hammer Down Racing Report, you can always send us a message or call the Hammer Down hotline, 419-318-3081. Thanks again to our guest this week, Brian Liskai. Always a pleasure talking to him. Check him out at Attica tomorrow and Saturday night. Or you can go see our friend Jerry on Saturday down at Waynesfield.
Waynesfield, yeah.
So plenty to choose from.
Get your backside to a racetrack somewhere this weekend.
Absolutely. Next week, Chris Mize, the always entertaining Chris Mize, will be with us to talk about the upcoming season at Sandusky. And then 2 weeks from tonight, we'll do our Oakshade Raceway preview.
Terry Hendricks?
I doubt that. Doubt that very much. It'll probably be a Pam or Chrissy kind of thing. So we'll see you next Thursday, 7 o'clock. Again, Chris Mize on the show. Get out, support your local racetrack. Okay, goodbye.
We'll see you soon.
You have been listening to the Hammer Down Racing Report, available on demand on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting platform.